This conference will now be recorded.
So this was our last class. We started working out with our enterprise structure terminology. And there were a few things which I was trying to explain, like how we are going to be mapping a company or a business which want to use SAP. We name it as a company. And I was trying to mention what exactly is the meaning of a company, what we try to map it. Then we started working out with our company code as our second step over here. I was trying to mention that if a company is running different businesses, each business we try to call it as a company code. And the reason why we try to map it, because of this particular things. So by investing a capital amount on a particular business, how much revenue we make it, how much loss we make it in a financial year, we are going to be generating a statement. For that, we need to make sure each business is going to be called as a company code. Then I was trying to basically talk about this particular sales organization usage. So every company will be having their own sales department. That sales department is what we call it as a sales org. And there are going to be different activities what this particular sales organization is going to be performing. They try to take care of selling the products, promotions, post sales, and distribution activities. Then we try to talk about channel partners. Every company will be having their own set of customers to whom we try to sell the products. And these customers need to be categorized because for each group of customers, we have different payment terms, different delivery process. So each category of people, we call it as distribution channel. And then we started working out with our divisions, product lines. So what all products a company is going to be selling to the customers, we try to call it as a product lines over here. That product lines in SAP terms, we map it and call it as divisions. And last and final one, what we have discussed was material groups. We try to basically subdivide this particular divisions into groups. That is what we have done till now. Now, apart from this, there are going to be few more things we need to focus on. So you will be hearing company stores, branch offices, or company outlets from where they try to sell products. All of it in SAP terms, we try to call it as sales office. We try to call and map it them as a sales office. It's a simple thing over here. Now, when we try to talk about it, this is nothing but point of contact. Point of contact between company and the customer. Point of contact between company and the customer, sales office. So if customer, as a customer, if you have any issue related to the product, or if you want to do any kind of price negotiation, or you want to get some more discount, you want to put a request, this is a place where you try to visit for that particular communication process. And this sales office is what we try to call it as a physical geographical location. It's going to be physically maintained so that you can go communicate, get all your doubts clear, and if you're happy, you can go for placing an order as well. All that activities are going to be performed in the sales office. Okay. Now, how many sales offices we can go for maintenance means multiple. So it totally depend upon the business how many sales offices they want it. And people who work in the sales office, we name them as sales persons. Now you're going to be having different people working in an office in different departments. I'm trying to talk about salespersons over here who will be responsible for selling the products. They don't do nothing. They try to take care of sales. Okay. Now, this is an example of your master data. This is not going to be part of your configuration data. We name it as an master data over here, because employee master data is what we need to keep it in the system. Okay. Now, who will be maintaining this particular master data? It is going to be your end users who will be taking care of it. Okay. And the sales persons are going to be divided into teams. So which we try to call them as groups over here. We don't call them as teams. And each team or each group will be responsible for selling only a particular range of products, or they try to cover a particular geographical location. Okay. So you will be hearing in the pharmaceutical sector or in the retail business, each salespersons will be designated with one geographical location where they need to take care of selling the products. That is what we are going to be mapping and doing it as a sales group. Apart from this, you're going to be having purchase department. Now, purchase department job role is going to be entirely different from sales. Yep. Now, purchase team is going to be responsible for purchasing. Sales team will be not having any kind of authorizations to purchase anything. We take care of only sales. If sales team require any stock which need to be purchased, that need to be updated to the purchase organization. You're going to be hearing a term very common in the business, purchase org. And what they do, they try to do the purchasing, responsible to purchase the stock. Now, what stock they are going to be purchasing? Anything. Business required different types of materials. They take care of all that particular purchasing activities. And the reason why we are trying to get into this particular area, because we are going to be working how sales is going to be integrated with MM. There are going to be scenarios. We have a concept called as inventory management. If you want to know how this MM team will be maintaining the stock, we need to have this understanding. Second, trading scenarios. When we talk about this trading scenarios, buying and selling. So in case if you are trying to implement SAP for a trading company, we buy the stock, we sell the product, and we make some money. For that, you need to know how this purchase organization is going to be running, because all purchasing will be taken care by them and all sales will be handled by sales org. You're going to be finding two different departments doing different activities. Okay. And next term, we require to have a good understanding on credit control area. This is the department which try to fix up the credit limit of the customers. It's just like your credit company will be offering the goods on credit. You take the goods now, do the payment later. Now, up to what value customer can purchase the stock on credit, that will be fixed by this particular team. Okay, so they try to fix up the credit limit of the customer up to what value customer can take the products on credit. That will be fixed by this credit control area over here. Okay, and based on what parameter this credit limit is going to be fixed means based on score, credit score, based on past payment history, and based on number of transactions, turnover we try to call it as. Based on all these parameters, this credit control area will try to fix up the credit limit. Up to what value customer can take the product on credit. This is going to be configured by FI consultant. We are going to be looking into a concept called as FSCM credit management. which is going to be integration of SD with FI. Now, when we talk about this FSCM, this stands for Financial Supply Chain Management. Financial Supply Chain Management. We try to work in this particular area with FI. This is going to be a big concept, and when you look into the GDs, people will be expecting you to have good understanding and execution activities on FSCM credit management. This is going to be one of the hot skill in SD mode. So no sufficient people are available who can handle this particular area in depth. So please try to put some efforts when you try to deal with this particular FSCM credit management. It is going to be a good concept, and each and every business will be following this particular credit management process. And the same time, we have one more organizational unit on the name controlling area. Credit control area is going to be different and controlling area is going to be different. These are going to be two different terms, perform different activities, and this controlling area is going to be handled by CO consultants, not a SD, not FI, CO. In FI CO, CO means controlling. Now, what this controlling will be doing? Product costing. Credit control area will take care of fixing up the credit limit, and they deal with product costing. So controlling area is going to be the department which fix up the price of the product. At what price I need to sell the product in the market, that price will be fixed by the controlling team. Okay. What they do, the CO team is going to be working with material management, to know what is the cost involved in purchasing the stock. Purchase the stock costing, that is what they try to get it. Once they have that information, they try to work out with PP, production planning, cost involved in manufacturing the product. Then they try to work out with SD, cost involved in promoting the product. They take all these particular parameters into consideration and they try to fix up the price. What price means? Two prices they try to fix it. One, we call it as input or manufacture cost. That is what they try to fix it up. And based on that, they try to fix up the selling price. It is not going to be the sales team who will be fixing up the price. You get that information from the CO department. They perform a different role. Okay, so this is going to be an interesting area to work as well. And last and final one, we required shipping points. If you want to perform deliveries, if you want to receive the stock, if you want to dispatch the stock, you require a shipping point for that. Okay, this is nothing but a place where all your delivery activities will be done. Activities are performed. You are going to be using this particular location to perform inbound deliveries and outbound deliveries. Stock comes in, stock goes out. So inbound will be handled by outbound will be handled by sales. This is nothing but dispatch. If you want to send the stock, we dispatch it. They work with goods receipt. Okay. So when company is going to be purchasing any stock from the vendor, we try to deal with inbound deliveries because vendor will be supplying the stock. Outbound deliveries will be handled when transaction is done between customer and the company. So customer will place an order to the company and company will be dispatching it. So we deal with goods issue. So that is what the shipping point is going to be handling it. So this is going to be configured by LE consultants. In a project, if you don't find LE consultants, then this is going to be handled by sales or MM. Because it is going to be integration between MM and SD, you will be finding MM consultant or sales consultant who will be creating this particular shipping points. So these are the different organizational. LE stands for logistic execution. So these are the terminologies what you need to adapt, and we are going to be using it very commonly in our transaction data recording process. And this purchase order creation is going to be handled by MM consultant. Sales group will be handled by SD consultant. Whereas sales office, again, it is going to be part of SD consultants. Each consultant will be performing different roles over here. Okay. And that is what we are going to be building in the application by creating all of it. And in today's class, we try to start developing the enterprise structure as well using these particular things. So enterprise structure configuration is what we try to call it as. Configuration is nothing but we are trying to use standard solution available in SAP and we try to build it up. That is what we call it as configuration data. Okay. So we try to deal with two parts. Your total enterprise structure is going to be having two parts. First part, we try to go for defining of organizational units. What all organizational units we require, we are going to be creating it. Second step, we try to assign organizational units. We try to maintain the link between the organizational units over here. Two steps, we are going to be doing it up. With these two steps only, your total enterprise structure configuration will be completed. Yeah. Now, let me try to start doing the configuration in the system. Okay, so here I'm just trying to log in. I'm trying to do the configuration as part of your S4HANA application itself. And here, you're going to be finding this client. The client, what I have explained over here, is different. Here I was trying to talk about company business client. And this client is what you find it is going to be different. This is nothing but we call it as system numbers. SAP system number. Now, why like that? When you try to work in the real time, you're going to be having access to work with different servers. In the real time, you're going to be having system landscape maintained. When we talk about this particular landscape, as I mentioned earlier, you're going to be having access to work with development server. Second one, quality. And third is going to be production. Now, what exactly happens over here? I'm just trying to give you an overview of it. Here, we try to build the application. And this is going to be totally under the control of consultants. No end users will be given access to work on development server. Okay, that is the reason we try to build the entire application based on the business requirements. So this is going to be one point what you need to know. We build the application. Now, once you build the application, do we need to do any kind of testing? So that is going to be the second activity we do. We try to perform testing. As a consultant, we try to perform testing as well in the development server. Now, when we try to talk about this quality server, you're going to be finding both consultants will be given access to work on it along with end users. So in this particular server, you're going to be having again two activities. One, we train the users. We train the users how to record day-to-day transactions. We try to train them how to record master data and transaction data. Front-end application training will be provided to the users. By whom? By the consultants. Second, UAT, user acceptance testing. Once your user get trained on the application, he try to perform testing over here. This is what is going to be done as part of your quality server. And third one, production. In production, no SAP consultant is going to be given access to work on the systems. This is going to be under the control of end users. So here they try to perform only one activity, record live transactions. So that is the reason in any of the project you try to work, you're going to be having 3 servers deployed. One, we try to call it as development, second, quality, and third is going to be production. Now, when you try to work out with these different servers, now how you identify in which system you're trying to log in? For that, we try to use this client ID. Okay, so here you will be having different system numbers to log into the system and perform different roles. Right now, the server access which been provided to you is development server. And here in this particular system, you can build the application, you can test the application as well in client 220. Okay, here we try to put down your username, password, and try to log in. And in which language you want to log in, maintain that information, click on enter, and this will be taking us to this particular page. Now, who can work on this page? It's going to be totally user who will be working on it. As a consultant, we don't deal with this. We need to get into the backend. We try to run a transaction code in the command box as SPRO. Click on enter, and this is how the page is going to be looking. Whatever project has been allocated to you, you need to select the project, click on SAP reference IMG, and this is the place where our entire development activities are going to be performed. So consultants will be working on this particular page, which we call it as display IMG. And here, this is the first one what we look after. And there is a documentation available. If you try to click on this particular documentation, what you mean by this particular term? There is some information provided by SAP for our reference. You can read it, get to know the usage of it, steps you need to follow for the building process as well. Now, if you want to get into it, expand it, and you can find 2 steps over here, definition and assignments. So first step, we try to define the organizational units. Here, as an SD consultant, if you try to expand the sales and distribution, these are the 4 steps we try to perform in the real time. So under definition, we try to go for creation of sales org, distribution channel, sales office, sales group. You're not going to be responsible for creation of company, company code, purchase org. No. Whatever steps you find under sales and distribution, these are the only steps we do. Okay, so each consultant will be performing different activities. So right now, we don't have a finance department or a purchase department to do some configurations required. We start from here. We create each and every entry for recording sales transaction from finance, controlling, logistics, general, sales. We don't deal with service, material management, LE. We are not going to be working with plant maintenance and HR as well, because we don't have any kind of integration with sales. We are going to be ignoring these 2 modules. Okay, so starting with financial accounting, when you expand it, Your FI consultant need to configure all these particular things in the real time. Okay, they need to sit with the business, they need to collect the data, and they try to create it. Right now, we require 3 organizational units over here. We need to know how to go for creation of a company, credit control area, and the company code. We work with only these 3 steps over here. Starting with the first one, define company. And when you click on it, this icon is what we call it as timer icon or IMG activity. If you want to get into details, you need to click on it. If you double click on it, you can't get into the details of it. So click on this IMG activity, and this how the page is going to be looking. Each entry is going to be represented by a code, and this length is going to be getting differed for different organizational units. For company, the length is of maximum of 6 letters. For company code, 4 letters. For sales of 4 letters. For plan, 4 letters. For distribution channel, 2 letters. We have length restriction maintained. Okay. Now, if you want to create, try to take the help of new entries. In the project, this particular screen is going to be totally blank because we are going to be working on a license one, and that will be used only for that particular business. Right now, it's a demo server. You can find number of entries are maintained over here. For which company you're trying to implement SAP, only that company details will be updated. Apart from that, you don't find any other information. Now, here we try to take the help of new entries and we try to go for creation of it. So here, okay. So I'm just trying to take this one over here. So I'm going to be taking one client. So I'm just trying to talk about LG over here. So for LG, we are going to be doing the implementation. Okay. So here, we try to put down all that particular values. Now, this is what, as a consultant, you do the interaction with the business and collect the data. If any of these values are not updated, what happens? You're going to be finding its effect when we record master transaction and transaction data. Now, these are nothing but we call them as fields. In these fields, you need to update the information. Right now, all these particular fields are acting as optional entries. Optional means if you maintain it, okay. If you don't maintain it, also okay. Now, here I'm trying to maintain the code. Let's say I'm trying to call it as ZLG. Here, this length is going to be of 6 letters, but I'm just trying to maintain it as 3 letters over here. And here, I'm trying to maintain the description for that. If you have a big name maintained, you can use this particular field as well for capturing it. And you try to put down the information. So here I'm trying to maintain some data. Postal code. Then we have this one, city, country. If you don't know the code for any particular country, you can click on this match code. List of entries will be shown up. Okay, no need to do anything. You just need to scroll down and you need to check out. Here I'm trying to maintain that country as IN. Then we have language key, IN, and currency of transaction, INR. So as many fields you can fill in, and save this entry. Then only it will be updated up in our database. So click on save and we get this particular request. Now this request is what we try to call it as transport request. Okay. So in a project, when you do configurations, you're going to be working out with this request a lot. We call it as transport request. With the help of this request only, we try to move the data from client to client or from server to server. If you want to move the data from development server to quality server, from quality server to production server, you require transport request. If you want to move the data from client to client, right now in which client we are trying to log in? 220. If you want to move the data from this client to another client, we require transport request. So again, in transport request, you are going to be finding two types of requests to work. One, we are going to be calling it as customization request. And second is going to be workbench request. Okay, so how to identify what type of request you are using? You can just follow the description. Technical. Now here, this particular requests are going to be getting displayed only when you work on IMG backend. This request will be not getting shown when you work on the front end. So end user cannot go for generating this request. Only consultants will be having the access to do it. Whatever configurations, whatever building process we do is going to be stored in the request number. This is the request number. This is a description of the request. This is a table name. Your database has been developed based on tables. Where you're trying to store the data? In this particular table. Okay. So right now, can I use this particular request for storing our data? No. So it's an existing one. This request has been created for different data storage. I cannot use it. If I need to create a new request, this is the icon for that. This request number you need to remember. So when a new request is created, do you need to remember the request numbers? So here we are not going to be remembering it. We have a report which will be showing us what all transport requests we have created. Okay, so we try to check all that things. Now we try to learn how to create a new request. Now who will be doing this activity? Now creation of request will be done by functional, but who will be responsible for moving the data? So this step is going to be handled by basis team. They take care of data transportation. If they take care of data transportation, who need to share the transport request number? So functional team need to share the request number to the basis team. What values need to be moved from client to client or server to server. Okay, so you need to know how to create it. We try to take the help of this icon, create request. Now, can you find any request number getting popped up? Automatically, this request number will be popped up when we create. Only thing you need to do, what kind of description you want to maintain for your request. So my entire enterprise structure configuration is going to be updated in new request, and you can see customizing request. Now who is trying to create this particular request, in which client, at what time, everything will be there. Try to click on save. This is a request number and this is a description of the request. So our company information is getting stored in this request number. You can try to click on continue and this is a message you get it. Now where to see the request? We have a transaction code. So SC09. There is a T code to see list of transport request. So what all requests you have created, you can check that one. Now if you try to open that SC09, I'm just trying to open up a new session by using /O as a T code. A new window, and here I'm trying to enter that particular transaction code SC09. If you click on this SC09, this how the screen will be looking. We call it as transport organizer. Enter the username and you can find two requests. Customizing workbench. I'm telling the system what all requests created by this username, display it. So try to click on display. So list of transport requests has been shown up. By functional. When we have some activities, we try to do that as well. So ABAP will be using customizing requests as well as workbench requests. So here you can see workbench request, customizing request. This is the request number, client ID, user, description. If you try to expand it, this is what we try to call it as main task. If you expand it, we get a subtask. And when you expand the subtask, we have gone for creation of a company. If you expand it, data, what you have stored. Try to keep on expanding it. This is a table name. Company values are getting updated up in this particular table. If you expand it, this is my client and this is the value what I've maintained, ZLG. So this is very important for us. Which request you want your basis team need to move into different system, you need to provide it. In the real time, we are going to be preparing transport request documentations and we put all the information. No, we try to create different requests for that. So whenever you try to save any data, you will be finding one main request under that subtask. So by default, system is going to be preparing. Yeah, because like sometimes what happens, we want to only, you have performed 10 steps. Out of that 10 steps, only 2 steps data need to be moved. So you need to use different request numbers. If you're trying to put everything in one request, all 10 steps will be moved instead of moving 2 steps. Yeah, we can do that. We need to select that and we need to move it. So this is one thing. Please remember, whatever data you're trying to save is going to be updated in the form of transport request. Okay. And the first thing what we have done over here is part of your financial accounting module, where we have learned how to go for creation of company. And this is a naming convention I maintain for that. Now, once done with this particular step, come back. And if you want to know where exactly our entry has been updated in this particular page, click on position. Click on position, enter the code, click on continue. It will be navigating us to that particular place. And if you want to check out the details maintained for that, select the entry, get into details, and you can find the information updated. Now, all these fields are in editable mode. If you want to do any kind of changes to any of the field value, you can do that. If you want to change the code, not possible. Values can be changed, code cannot be changed. Okay. Now, who will be providing this code? Do business know how to run SAP? No, as a functional consultant, you need to suggest a code. You need to explain that particular term means, what is the importance of it, and you need to get the acceptance. Once you get the acceptance, then only I can put that code in a SAP. Okay, that's how it's worked. So there is a constant interaction which will be done with the business for the developments. Yeah, before you touch the system, you need to get all the approvals, because you know what is going to be the first step, second step, third step, fourth step. So accordingly, you need to get the approvals and you need to keep on adding the activities done on system. Okay. Now, once you're done with this, come back and try to work out with the second step, credit control area. As I mentioned, this will be handling entire credit management. And when you click on it, define credit control area, we have this particular screen. And you can see the length of credit control area is how many? 4 letters, which can be alphanumerical combination. And if you want to create a credit control area, again, take the help of new entries. Click on new entries. We have this particular screen getting popped up. We need to put down the code. We need to update the currency and rest of the values. So right now, I'm trying to call it as ZLCA. I'm trying to maintain the currency. I'm maintaining the code, maintaining the currency. I'm not updating the description because this field is in display mode. If I want to capture the description, I can't do that. We have a different path where we need to update the description. And apart from that, I'm not maintaining any of these values at the moment. Why? When we work with credit management, we need to tell the system what values need to be taken into consideration. There we try to explore these particular rules and what is going to be the effect of it. As of now, I required an organizational unit. I maintain the code, I maintain the description, and I try to save. Or you can use shortcut Control S. Now, this is a request what we have created just now. I'm going to be using this request for storing my configuration. In case if you want to check what all requests you have created in the past, click on own request. What all requests has been created in the past will be shown up. In which request you want values need to be updated, you can select it. Now, for example, I want to update the data in this request. You can do that change. In which request you want values need to be saved, you have an option of own request. Click on it, pick that particular request number. Try to click on continue and done. Your credit control area has been created. And if to add the description, come back, and here we update the description. So I'm putting down the code as LG credit control area. Try to save it and done. So if you double click on it, you can get into the details. Whatever code we maintain has been reflected. So this is our second step where we have created an entry on the name credit control area. ZLC. So this is our second step. Now, who do these things? So it is going to be your FI consultant who need to create it, not SD. Because we don't have an FI, we are trying to do these steps over here to map our SD enterprise structure. Okay. Now, third step, we try to work out with company code. That's going to be the third step. Now, I can show you the reason why we are trying to do this. If you come back, this is part of definitions. If I try to get into assignments, you have sales and distribution. When you expand the sales and distribution, what is the first step you do? You need to assign your sales stock to what? Without company code information, can I perform this step? So that is the reason we are trying to learn how these things are going to be done as part of your finance. Okay. In real time, they handle it. We use that information. Now, this particular step, we try to pick it from tomorrow. Tomorrow, I try to teach you how to create a company code. We finish sales and distribution, controlling logistics general as part one. In part two, I'm going to be jumping with assignments. So please try to do some practice, pick up some companies, make sure you get the server access and start building the application now. It's going to be practical oriented performance, what we try to look from here onwards. We develop the system, we keep on recording the transactions, and we check how reports will be generated, how transactions will be updated, how master data will be done simultaneously on Fiori. We do activities on GUI and Fiori apps as well. Okay. Yeah, because I'm all now. In which screen you're doing it? Because if okay, now for example, if I hit on it, right now I'm having the access. Now, if you're trying to log into the same screen, you're not going to be having the access of entering the data. Values will be in the display. You need to wait for me to exit. So because one at a time, only one person can do any kind of addition to this particular values. Then we need to delete the entries. SM12 is the T code for that. Lock entries. So your basis team will be having the authorizations of giving you the permissions in case if it is locked. You need to get the server access. You need to get the server access. You can contact your system administrators or counselors, so they try to provide it to you. Kim, thank you.